tied with 5 minutes left against the best in the Western Conference. The Utah Jazz had all the answers in the clutch, and they knock off the Thunder, 124-117. It's next on POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
David Locke, along with Ron Boone. At some point, I will stop yelling at you, but that was awesome. What a game. Tied at 109 with 5 minutes left, and the Jazz outscore the Thunder 115-8 in the final 5 minutes. This was against the number one team in the West. This was the number one offense in the clutch versus the number two offense in the clutch. The Jazz got the stops. They made the big plays. It was just awesome, Ron Boone.
Just awesome. Just think about the ball game and where the Jazz scored. The Jazz lost the battle from the three-point line.
Yep.
They won points in the paint. They won second chance points and fast break points 9-5. They got to the rim, something that Mark does not want to happen.
Yeah, no, the Jazz shoot 83% of the rim against the number one rim defense in the NBA at 60%. The Thunder shoot the lights out tonight. Their three-point shooting is 19 of 37, 52%. I literally said in the broadcast, like, that doesn't change. You don't win. Like, you don't beat a team that shoots 50. I will pull a number for Locked On Jazz tomorrow. I can't pull it right now. I will look at teams that have taken 35 threes in the night and made over 50%. I'm going to guess they win 90% of their games. Yeah. So there were a lot of things against it. The amount of individual plays tonight by the Utah Jazz that were made that deserve recognition is endless. I want to take one that I pointed out in the broadcast, and then we'll talk about some of the individual plays. The Jazz, the other night I asked Will Hardy what was wrong defensively. He said two things, rebounding and transition defense. The Jazz made a ton of plays in this game in transition where they got back to the rim, stripped the ball, knocked it out of bounds, and made the Thunder then play in the half court, probably 5 or 6. That was as much the difference of winning this game as Keyonte's 3, Lauri's 3, Kris Dunn steals, Kris Dunn block. But those are the plays, that hustle, that commitment, that change from how bad they were defensively over that 8-game stretch tonight was really mammoth.
And what did that do? That keeps Alexander off the free throw line. He's been averaging 14 a ball game. He's had 3 games this year where he had 17 free throws in a ball game. So that way that philosophy that they had tonight kept him off the free throw line.
All right, the other thing on this game is let's talk about the defense on Shai. So the game plan, Scott Morrison, so awesome. I cannot thank him enough for taking the time with us to give us to
Absolutely.
us, was to force him to the nail. We talked about it if you're listening to radio broadcast tonight, which you really should because we have this information and it's kind of special that we have it. Makes the show good, makes you really smart. So thanks for tuning in. In the first half, he just kept getting to the outside. And I asked Evan Bradds at halftime, I said, like, it feels like your guys are trying and he's just that good. What do you do? And he's like, you know what? You just got to commit harder. You got to get up on his outside hit more. You got to commit to it more. You got to be better than that. And they were. He did not get to the outside. Think about him as a running back. They want him in. They did not want him getting outside the tackles Super Bowl week. They wanted him playing in the middle. And Shai had 28 tonight, but
very quiet.
But his second half was quiet. If I find his first half, I think he's missed 2 shots in the first half. In the second half, he ends up really, that's why it felt quiet, is because in the first half it was dominant. In the first half, Shai is 8 of 12. And in the second half, when the Jazz fixed their defense, he goes 3 of 10. So really, that's as much of the story as well, as the way they defensively altered what they were doing, or at least executed the game plan on Shai in the second half.
Yeah, everyone has a game plan, and it doesn't make coaches. It makes coaches feel so good when the game is over and the game plan works. They go back in the locker room and just sit back. And true enough, a lot of times they go in there and they rehash what happened and the good things. But it's so good, when the coaching staff put together a game plan and it works.
All right, one of the questions all year has been getting Lauri the ball late. And tonight they gave Lauri, and he made the 2 biggest shots of the night.
Boy. Yes, he did.
One of them just in isolation at the elbow, rose up over the top. The other was a left side 3. Those are mammoth baskets. And if Lauri wanted to make a statement to the Western Conference coaches, he did it tonight. 33 points and 11 rebounds tonight. Plus, he had a big assist late in the game to for a right corner 3, and I can't remember who. I think it was Keyonte who hit it. I'm not sure. Maybe it was somebody else, but a huge assist late for Lauri, too, out of the post. Lauri he is brilliant. He's brilliant every night. We don't want to ever take it for granted, but he was really good tonight.
12 for 18 shooting. He ends up getting 11 rebounds. And I'm not sure what beat writer asked the question about Lauri shooting. And Will went through this rant of so many things that Lauri does well with his shooting. But what he failed to mention is that Lauri, when he catches the basketball, that's where he shoots from. I mean, it's not like he catches and have to bring it down. If he catches it up above his head, he shoots from that spot. Catches it around his ankles, comes up and shoots it. I mean, that's what's so good about that.
It was interesting. He talked about his stationary feet. He shoots it off stationary feet. He doesn't need to adjust his feet. So he's able to catch it wherever, like Ron's talking about, and be able to bring it into his shooting pocket without having to adjust his feet, which then lets him get the shot off quickly. His lower body has a great base that allows him to do that, is what Will talked about today. The handy dandy book of all the press conference notes comes into handy post game. But that's what Will talked about late in this ball game. Let's go to Keyonte. He has now been at the helm for the last 2 games on the floor, closing these games out for the Jazz, showing magnificent growth.
1 turnover.
Well, that's great.
1 turnover, 16 points. 26 minutes. His minutes are going up. Well, we might as well say 27 minutes, but his minutes are going up. Not making those mistakes. And what I've noticed is that he's playing just a little bit faster. He's not eating up a lot of the clock trying to get into the offense. Playing just a little bit faster. And not only is it helping the team, it's going to help him there as well.
There's just a lot of things. Kris Dunn played a lot tonight, was really, really good defensively. We talked about that in the 3 block shots, 4 steals, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. But I also think maybe the biggest play, and I got to go back and check when it happened. Honestly, you guys, you call a game like this, and I have no idea the sequence of events. I'm just kind of running through plays in my head. But Kris, fairly late in the shot clock, drives the basket. They're laying off Kris because he's not a good 3-point shooter. And he's just not an offensive player. And he drives the basket. I feel like it was late. And he dishes it inside to Walker Kessler for a dunk. Maybe it wasn't in the final 5 minutes, but I thought that was a huge play in this game. Nope, it happened with 3:27 left. It was Thunder led at 113-112. He drives in, he brings the defense to him, and then he finds Walker for the dunk. It was just a really good clutch play of understanding his own strengths in that moment.
But I think that was a scramble before he was able to gain control of the basketball, and maybe he lost it and got it back and drove into traffic and ends up finding.
Well, something had to happen because the previous possession ended at 54 and that possession ended at 27. And according to my math, that's more than 24 seconds.
Yes.
So something had to happen in there that I don't know what it is because it's not on the box score. But the story down the clutch tonight. So if you're just tuning in, I usually got to give you Jazz were down 6 at the end of 1. Played pretty well, but we're down 6. Then they were down, I think, 9 at the half or 7 at the half. Went on a 19-2 run to close the third, outscoring them 35-24. Then the Thunder, so the Jazz kind of have the lead going into the fourth, and the Thunder bring it back. The Thunder then catch them. It's 107-99. You feel like you're in pretty good shape if you're the Jazz. And the Thunder catch them at 109 and take the lead at 110-109 with 4:40 left. Keyonte hits a monster 3. Jalen Williams answers with a 3. Thunder are back up. Then we get the play of Dunn to Walker. The Jazz get Giddy to shoot is who they want. He misses. Keyonte gets the pass from Markkanen I was talking about with 2:45 left. Hits the 3. Holmgren misses. Jazz are now up 4. But the Jazz, kind of a weird sequence. They end up not scoring, but Jalen Williams misses another 3. And a turnover by Shai. Kris Dunn with a great steal on that. And then that's when Lauri hits the 20-footer. That was the big one. Then he follows it with a 3 with 43 seconds left to close it out. And that ended the ball game basically with 43 seconds left. So just a brilliant sequence. And Ron, one thing I'm impressed by with the Jazz is that how good they are. Like the fact that they're the number 2 offensive team in the clutch, that's a real tribute to Will Hardy. This is not a team that has a Luka Doncic or a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or a LeBron James or someone of that nature who you would think would carry a team in the clutch for them to be this good late in games.
Yeah, if you look at this roster, and I think you talk to some of the critics around the league, this is supposedly not a very good basketball team, but this is a 500 team. And this team is beating some of the best teams in the NBA.
Beat Milwaukee, the number 2 team in the East, though scuffling a little bit, and Thunder, who were not. They had won 8 of 10 coming in. They were number 1 in the West and got it done tonight. I feel like we should just keep talking. I don't want to like let it. John Collins, 22 points tonight. In 28 minutes. Walker Kessler, I think, had 4 or 5 blocks tonight. Actually, they only gave him 3, but he was great. Anybody else we should be throwing out there? Like Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk changed the game.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk conducting out of the post Kelly Olynyk was brilliant tonight. 7
assists. He just gets it done, and doesn't take him. He averages 5 shots a ball game. I tell people all the time, but his presence out there on the floor is known. I mean, he's there, even though he only takes about 5 shots a game.
Well, they ran the entire offense through him out of the post on a bunch of plays. He went Junior Jokic there for a little while. All right, tough. Star time. This is tough. I really. All right, I always acquiesce to you and let you go first.
I'm going to go again with Keyonte.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Lauri.
So can we discuss the problem we're running into here? So I really think Kris Dunn deserves a lot of recognition for his performance tonight, and he closed the game, and he made a lot of plays. Mm-hmm. But that means that the guy who made the 2 biggest buckets late, who had 33 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and an assist late, and a steal, and is so wildly the best player on the floor tonight, would not get a star. I actually think it's a criminal offense to not give Lauri Markkanen a star tonight. I cannot do it. I am not going to get to the point where we have a player have that kind of a superstar night and we do not give him a star. So we have a problem tonight, Ron. Because Lauri's got to get a star.
This is not Houston. Houston, we got a problem.
No, but like,
this is.
Do we really?
We do have it.
I agree. Keyonte was great, and he made 2 monster threes. Are we sure on Keyonte over Kris Dunn for the star tonight?
Well, Kris Dunn doesn't get a lot of stars,
right?
So we need to take advantage of his play.
And
do you agree with me
that we just cannot ignore? You don't have Lauri tonight. You got no chance.
Right. Without a doubt.
Right. Like he's just like, let's not forget how great he is. Is that fine? Can we do that?
Let's do that.
Kris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen, Keyonte. We assume you're going to have a multitude of stars coming up in the future of your life. Dunn was great.
4 steals. 4 steals.
Yeah.
3 blocks.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible as a guard.
Yeah.
And he was guarding Shai, who went, what did we just say Shai did in the second half? He went 3 of 10.
3 of 10. 11 for 22 for the night.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, Kris Dunn, Lauri Markkanen, thanks for tuning in to POSTCAST. Locked on Jazz tomorrow. We now send you the first ever 24/7 national sports stream, Locked on Sports Today, which is also now available for you on Amazon Fire. Great wins by the Jazz. Go Jazz. Have fun. Talk to you soon.